on, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. It's your girl Bex.
And I'm Carly.
And we're here to deliver content to unlock your mindset and actions to be limitless. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And like we always say, ring the bell notification so you can get alerted when we're dropping videos just like this.
All right, so this week, we are going to be reacting to the racism following England's defeat to Italy in Euro 2020, where we saw Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, and Bukayo Saka all received racial abuse online. The Football Association said social media companies need to step up and take accountability, including taking action to ban abusers from their platforms. And as we all know, it's not the first time that Black players have been targeted with racial abuse on social media following a football match. You know, the worst part I found about it all was the fact that as soon as it happened, it was like, just watch the racial abuse now. It's the knowing it's gonna come. That's the bit for me that was just awful.
And you know what, it was, I was even already in a strange place when he was making those subs at the end. It just felt wrong. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It just felt like there was just something written all over this, like, and it was just gonna unfold horribly. Like, I don't know if I knew at that point that some like racial abuse was coming, but something was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that happened, it was just, you just knew, do you know what I mean? And I think that's, like you say, that's the worst thing, knowing, oh God. Do you know what I mean?
As if it's not enough, first of all, since when has football got anything to do with race? First of all. But I just can't imagine the pressure.
Yeah.
For one, you've been brought on knowing full well this is going into penalties. So straight away, like, get ready. Then you've just watched two of your mates, but even Rashford being first to be the first. It was Rashford that missed first, wasn't it? Even that alone, doesn't matter which order, but all that pressure on you, and then poor Saka at the end, 19 years old, and two of your mates have just missed, and you know if you don't score, that is you out. I couldn't even imagine what that pressure must have felt like.
Nah, not at all. Because I mean, I've been in a position where you've taken a penalty just on a normal day, right? And it's nerve-wracking. Imagine like having the whole country on your back, like, and I'm not sure how penalties go, but I'm not sure if someone can just change at the last minute either. Do you know about
you set the order?
Yeah, like you set the order. I'm not sure if it's like, but anyways, like it's still peaked. You get what I'm saying? And it's just like everybody's saying that the racism was so predictable. Like, and it's mad because when you score, you're English, and when you miss, you're an immigrant. And why are you drawing those conclusions? But at the same time, why is anybody acting shocked? Because
exactly.
And like, if we had recorded this on Monday, for example, I would have been in a bad place this week. But like, as time has gone over, like as the days have gone by, I'm just like, but it's not shocking though. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't shocking. Like, this is not shocking news. And that's what's shocking is, it's shocking that it's not shocking. Like,
100%.
Right?
Fully expected it. Straight away, everyone's gone to social media within minutes. It's almost like the racists had it typed out, ready to go. And as soon as it happened, send, that was it.
And this is the thing, I believe that is probably a thing, right? Because if you look at memes and meme pages and all the rest of it, they are out within seconds of things happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, within seconds. And it's like, well, how? Like, well, how was that on your, like, the fact that it's already on your mind, you get what I'm saying? You're actually just preempting that this is if they win, we'll post this. If they don't win, we're going to post that.
Exactly. All ready to go.
It is just, it's crazy. But like I said, it's not a shocking thing. You know, racism is still very alive. Like, why don't get deluded or, you know, misunderstand anything, because at the end of the day, racism, not just in sports, in life, is very rife. Very
100%. And I was watching a few like videos just talking about it, and like they were saying, this is part of society. Don't just think it's a few louts in football. That is the undercurrent. This is going on all the time in normal society. And the other thing they were saying is like, it's not just that, it's uneducated people. Absolutely not. Marcus Rashford received abuse from a teacher. There was I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he works with getting posts like this shut down. And he was saying they've had a police officer before, they've had bankers, people you would think who are educated professionals. They are, and he goes, you wouldn't believe it. You'd look at them and think, oh no, absolutely fine, absolutely not. He said, don't be fooled that it's just louts, uneducated people. It is not at all. And that in itself shows to you how it is just a part of normal society. But
racism is not about education. Like, how can, it doesn't matter if you're uneducated, calling someone
an N-word, or whatever else.
That's not to do with education. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, as a child, maybe you could say you're hearing it, you're picking it up, it's learned behavior and all the rest of it. But as you start to get older and you start to work, go into the working world, go into schools and all the rest of it, you know right from wrong. You're taught about these things. You've heard about these things.
Of course you have.
And you don't hear people just saying that all the time. The same way you wouldn't call someone a BITC.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it at work.
You wouldn't do that at work. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So why
you know it's wrong.
A black this or whatever.
Exactly.
It's not something that you would do. You don't. Do you see people walking down the street making monkey noises and all these type of things? That's not normal. So
exactly. They know full well it's wrong.
Like,
otherwise, we would all at work just say whatever we wanted. You know full well you've got to hold your tongue. And the problem is, like they're saying, a lot of the issue is there is no consequence. So people are freely doing it. No, well, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. Even the social media sites, there's no benefit to them taking it off, because the discussion is it's about censorship as well, and people are worried about the control if they are tracking. You've got, for example, use your driving license or passport to create accounts and stuff like that. But social media sites, just the way they're set up, is all to do with profit. So every time you're scrolling a page and staying on, advertising or whatever else. So if you put a racist post or something controversial online, what happens? Everyone floods to it, starts looking. What is that? It's engagement. It's exactly what they want. And what happens? They profit from it. So there's no benefit from the company to take it down in the first place.
And this is the thing, because it's not that they can't. We know that they can. Like things like porn, for example, when you can't, you're censoring that, right? Because you wouldn't even be able to operate as a platform. But there's certain things that they're just letting just go through the net. And like you say, it's all about money. Same way with smoking and alcohol. They could easily ban it if they wanted, right? But it's all about money. So, and this is the thing, is like all of these type of things are like money spinners. It's done on purpose. We've already seen in so many different ways, like the little seeds that are planted, the little seeds of hate that are planted, so that it blows up, goes for the agenda of whoever it is that is trying to cause that stir up. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know, it's just madness. I just can't bring myself to understand it. And I think we said about this before. We don't want to understand.
No, I was thinking that in the car. I was like, I don't actually understand. And what benefit are you getting? What does it do for you to say those things? Why? What's the need? I just don't understand it. And like you say, I don't even want to understand it because it's that ridiculous. Like people say, oh, free speech. What free speech? Are you absolutely crazy? Somebody can't stand on the street shouting stuff about terrorism, whatever else. It's hate speech. Racism is exactly the same. There's nothing coming out of your mouth that's racist that could be seen as, well, that's just an opinion. Racism isn't an opinion. If racism's racism, you cannot do it. It is abuse. End of story. And like you say, you can take everything that copyright. As soon as you put music on your thing, they're quick to take the video off. Algorithms. You're so clever and got so much money, you can write algorithms, even just the N word alone. That word alone, there is no sentence, no other word in the world that you can say, yeah, but it might be this. No, it is a racist word. Cut it out. Do not allow the post to go up. Don't tell me you can't do it, because you can.
Exactly. And I was like reading some other stuff as well, and they're talking about the government, and one of the players said something about Priti Patel and just in general the government, right? Because they, you know, and it's so ironic, right? Because the England team were taking the knee for racial injustice. Like that's exactly what we've been taking the knee for, like this whole time. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And you know, but there was already booing at the very beginning, so we already knew that this is still, people are still against it, and you know, government were against us taking the knee and all the rest of it. And then on the flip side, you're saying, oh, but we won't stand for racism, but you already kind of incited,
you kind of are standing for it because you refuse. And did you hear what she said? They said to her about, oh, would you have booed or something? She, oh, I've never been to a football match, so I can't. It's not about going to a football match and making a decision about what you would do there. Maybe you don't agree with taking the knee, but you don't need to boo them. That is you. The fact you can't even go, I wouldn't have booed, like, is nonsense. And she herself has received so much racial abuse, so much.
And do you know what is so mad about this year? Is that last week we recorded a video about shocking decisions in sports and all this type of stuff. Like, I didn't think I'd be back here talking about racism so soon. Like, do you get what I'm saying? You know, when we talk about the Olympics with the political, like, they're not gonna, like, they've banned all like the political stands and what you believe in and all the rest of it. And then a week later, we're here talking about, you know, being booed for taking the knee. You know, now racial, because you missed a penalty and all the rest of it, now you don't belong here and all the rest of it. And not funny enough, but I heard a story about someone who got stabbed in Luton, after all of this. So basically, this guy was walking down the street, and then there was a white guy that tapped him on the shoulder and said, excuse me, mate, help me, like my friend's, something's happened to my friend or whatever. The guy was now laying on the floor. Man turned around or something. They pushed him down onto the floor, started calling him the N-word and that, and they were saying, get the N-word, get the N-word. And they came over, rushed him, and then stabbed him in his leg. Yeah, it's mad.
Have you seen, there was, I think you sent it to me actually, they were talking about it on the news, and they didn't kind of give it energy to talk about what it was. I know exactly what they're on about from Snapchat, the whole point stuff, because that happened with something else as well when the terrorism stuff was on. You know, the social media, it was points for doing stuff to black people.
Oh my God.
The same thing was being circulated when, you know, there's a lot of the terrorism and people getting run over and stuff like that. The same thing happened there. And they were saying, but they changed it to Muslims, and obviously now they've changed it to the N-word. Same thing being circulated. Disgusting.
It's so bad. Like, it's just like, who's sitting behind this screen doing this stuff? Like, what is actually wrong with you?
There's a guy that's being circulated now. I saw it on Facebook, and I think that he's been proper outed. He got arrested, and he turned around and said, I was hacked. This is what they're all gonna say. My account was hacked. Yet they've seen posts from him for, he was saying something about women's football as well. So clearly he's got issues.
Yeah.
There's no way your account was hacked. That's just you. And like they're saying, they need to now look at how people need to be prosecuted. People losing their jobs. Look at that girl who was shouting at the bouncer, lost her job. That's exactly what needs to happen to people. And they were saying, oh yeah, but accounts, any account can be tracked, because what this guy was saying is he said the process needs to be simplified, but you can basically get a court order or something, and then that if you provide evidence, it then releases the information. They can check IP addresses. They've got phone numbers. You can track all of these accounts. Yeah. And some people were saying, yeah, but some countries, because of the way the government works, we don't want to release who they are. Fine, but that's not an issue in the UK. So make it visible, and just ban these people from football matches. They're not going to football matches.
That's what I was going to
sitting behind their screen.
Like, I wanted to bring that up as well, because like I think 5 people have been arrested or something like this, and they're saying that they're going to be banned from matches and stuff. But like you say, they're not going to matches. Like, and so imagine you're so hateful against something that you don't actually ever go to the thing, you just hear on your computer. Like, great. Like,
I'll
what
just
is
do it
it
from
actually
home.
gonna do? How's that gonna make? I don't know. Like, the
It's
thing
crazy.
is, I think my brother said something. He said it won't be enough until they indoctrinate the country, schools, colleges, universities, companies, sports, with anti-racist and anti-bigotry programs and systems. But even then, it still won't be enough. We're dealing with hundreds of years of indoctrinated racism, sexism, misogyny, and homophobia.
Yep.
And it's just so true. Like, I genuinely don't know what can be done.
Yeah.
I think the first step is that people who don't stand for all of this need to speak up and stop it in the tracks. Like, so there's a lot about like appropriation of culture, right? And even like there was a stand from Black creators on TikTok because they're coming up with like music, coming up with dances and all the rest of it. And then you got like, you know, white people taking it on as if it's their own. And there's a couple of videos. One of them is a girl called Khadija, and she talks a lot about just racism, colorism, and all this type of stuff, right? And she was talking about how like, even on like social media platforms like this, how the lighter you are, the more your content is pushed out. The darker you are, like Black people have got, it is a problem all over the place, right? And it's like, you want to appropriate our culture, like the lighter you are. However, when it comes to taking a stand, you're not really gonna say, you're not gonna put your life and try and save a Black person's life, like when you deep it on that level. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just like, even all of that, there's so many different levels to all of this type of stuff, like, but colorism is a real thing as well, like, you know what I mean? And it's just, but also like, we have, like, I think I know, like, we have light skin privileges as well. Do you get what I'm saying? As easy and as simple and as easy as that. And the darker you get, the worse it becomes for you in terms of like, you know, the angry Black woman and all of these types of stereotypes and stuff. It's just shocking, man. It is really just shocking.
It is. And like you say, I know what you mean in terms of like academic education. I agree. It means nothing. You can have an MBA and be a racist. But there was a certain level of what we're teaching. So like a lot of kids now, they're being taught about homosexuality and the different genders and how people identify. It's being taught a lot earlier now. So you find a lot of these younger kids, they're so just free and like they don't, and that's incredible. A lot of the issue, it's their parents who haven't grown up and woken up. So hopefully as that generation grows up, it dies out. But I think you're right. There's always going to be an element of it, because you think this has gone back to how far?
But like, even just like what you're about to, like what you just said, it's like, it has got better, but I think maybe it's got worse because of the way in which it's being covered up now. It's like they've given you a bit of a leash, but don't go too far kind of thing. And I guess like with social media and television and radio and the way that, you know, things have progressed in that sense, it's actually got worse because, you know, these players back in the day, they might have heard things in the stadiums, but it's not being directly pinged to their phone every minute. Do you get what I'm saying?
They just can avoid a newspaper, which is easy. Exactly. Just don't go to the shop. Yeah.
Exactly. And now it's like proper hate in your face. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think in that sense, it's got bad, but again, you can't really compare it to being literally like stoned in the street. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's what I mean. But I just totally agree with you. It's the way it's directed and in your face. It can't. Social media it's not good. The government are releasing the online harms bill. I think it's been renamed to something else now though. But what they're saying is that they're going to legislate to address abuse, hate and racism. So they can potentially fine a social media company 10% of their global revenue. But then I did see something that says up to 18 million. It depends which one's the higher value. But then like they were talking about in the comments the other day, we've been waiting for this bill for over 2 years now. Like, when is it going to come? Are you really like going to court? Who's going to take these big boys to court with all the money they've got? Like, I just don't see how is it going to turn into prosecutions. I don't know. I just feel like they'll be able to get around it in some sort of way, and really how many fines are going to be issued.
Yeah, and like, if you've got money and you're just going to keep paying the fines, then how deep are they going to go with it? And the thing is, I guess you have to try and be positive and look for it. Okay, they're trying to do this, okay, they're trying to do that, but you know, like, I think everybody can just take a bit of ownership, in the sense of taking ownership over your reaction to, and when you hear it and when you see it, and what are you going to do to call it out? I know there was especially on social media, there was a few ways like people were sharing like how you can report and report comments and all that type of stuff, which I thought was really cool to see that people were sharing that type of content as well. But yeah, man, like, I had to take a break from it all, because it's just like BLM, it gets a bit too much, you know, like, you know, some of the pictures and the graphics and all the rest of it that you see is just like, wow, like, what is actually just wrong with people? Do you get what I'm saying?
And I think, like you say, it is all of us as well. Like, your friend makes a joke that, oh, it's just a joke. No, you've got to be so careful, and you've got to really think about actually pulling your friends and family up on comments. I do it all the time. And again, I'm really grateful, like, as in I pull up people I know, like, you can't say that, or you might want to be careful. And I'd hope people would pull me up if I said something like that, because sometimes you do say things you don't really think about it, and you don't think, oh, we've always said that or whatever, but you don't really think. Like, at work, we banned a lot of phrases at work, like just the terminology master slave, that you like, even just black days, white days. I know a lot of people go, oh god, this is just over the top now, but it's a lot of it is the meaning behind it. Like master slave, there's a meaning behind that. We probably shouldn't be using that terminology, but I'm again grateful that we're working for a company who's so spot on this, and I spoke out, especially on the whole George Floyd stuff happened. Senior leadership in the company, like top, release statements. They've never done that before, and they were even getting involved and helping associates deal with it.
Yeah, and that's one good thing that I would say as well. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, we stand with you. They were actually setting up support groups and stuff, like for you to drop in and you know, have conversations and all the rest of it. And it's fun. Well, it's not. I need to stop saying it. Another conversation that I was having with my partner is, she was talking about the English language in general, and just the way that we speak and the way that certain words are associated to certain things. Like, for example, Black Sabbath, like, you know, Black, Death, Moody, all the rest of it is all associated to the color black, right? And then you've got like angel, like even dirt is black, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got things like angels and clean is all white. Do you get what I'm saying? So even those little subtle things that you're not necessarily picking up on, it's all there from just speaking, you know, like something else I was gonna say as well. So true. Yeah, man. Wait, there was something else I was gonna say, I can't remember.
I think I've covered all my points. I mean, I was gonna say about other players that have been abused, but I think we kind of passed that now.
What was I gonna say? There was something I was gonna say though. You can still say, you just reinsert it.
About
this is enough. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was also just gonna say as well about like at work, for example, like as much as they are being hot on it, like I actually got emotional over this the other day. Like my new manager flipping, there's me like literally streaming with tears. I'm like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? But you know, like a couple of people would be like, oh, the football, and it's just like, some people are just a bit insensitive, because for some of us, football, it got deeper than football in a matter of minutes.
Exactly.
And the thing is though, and I didn't know, but Mbappe, he also got racial abuse after he missed his penalty.
Yep.
But I never saw anything about that. So is that because it's like not our news? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Because the England team is our news. So is what we're seeing, is that the same as what everybody else is seeing? So I had to kind of like check myself and be like, but are people being insensitive though, or have they just not seen the level of what we're seeing?
It's a good point, because I was looking at different other people like Balotelli, the French football team, which I can't remember which year they won. I don't know if it's the Euros or the World Cup. And there was a politician who spoke out to say the fact that the team was mixed up of people from African and Arab parents, ancestry. And he's like, that's not a representation of France and stuff like that. So it's going on in all countries. Like Balotelli's had issues. I can't remember, there's another player, he had chairs thrown at him, like fans were ripping chairs out, bananas thrown. One of them, incredible response, he picked up the banana, peeled it, ate it, and then took the corner. It's fantastic. So
really?
It is, yeah, it's going on everywhere. But then, like you say, for someone in Italy maybe who didn't see that, they won. So even if they, I mean, they missed 2 penalties, even if the fact they won, if one of those was by a black person, they probably wouldn't say anything. But like you say, they're not focusing on that, and they don't see what's going on in the UK. And I'm so glad on my team, no one spoke about the football at work, and I'm really glad they didn't.
Yeah, I was hopeful, and it started off well, but then, you know, like, you've got Italian people within your team, so you can't just take away their glory from them. Obviously, they've achieved something great, so I get that. But like, it's just like that sensitivity. But like I said, are they privy to the same kind of level of what we're seeing? But I really don't know like how athletes would take a stand, because I heard someone say something like, if all of the African American, like just from black, like ancestry or heritage or whatever it may be, all walked out of sport, there would not be, you know what I mean, like you might be having a conversation now, like, and you know, I know there's been teams that where there has been racial abuse, like in stands and stuff, they've just down tools it and they go, like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
because as a team they walked off, and then I think was it the rugby, they what do you call it? They stopped using social media for 4 days. Yeah, I think it was it
was football actually.
Yeah, it was one of the sports. That was recent. Yeah, they were like, right, we're boycotting social media for 4 days. But again, what happened from that? Not a lot.
And this is my thing, like, and I mean, we can go on for hours about this, right? And we, as the masses, you have the power, and it's the same thing. If you really wanted change, you would all stand together and down tools and whatever it is. People would have to listen, but unfortunately, you know, I guess it's people's livelihoods, and you know what, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but then and that's the whole thing. It's the consequences, isn't it? It's us speaking out when you see something's wrong. Educating people around you, like, you can't say that. And then, you know, social media companies having more of a consequence to what they're doing and what they're pushing out, and don't allow them to, you know, make all their decisions because of profit. They're already cutting out pornography and all this other stuff that goes on, copyright, so they can do exactly the same with racism. But at the moment, it appears they use it for gain because they know it's attracting people to it. And there's another gentleman, he's got an organization that looks at this sort of stuff, and he was saying they're about to release stats on it. He said you wouldn't believe less than 1 in 10 accounts that they've reported have been taken down where they've reported abuse. Yet he said it's not enough.
Wow. So that's the end of this video. We could go on and on this topic of racism and injustice, and I think we will do some more research and see what other areas we can explore. But for this week, I've been your girl Bex.
And I've been Carly. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode, and we will see you next week.
Peace.